What price must a storied WNBA franchise endure to secure not just one, but two generational talents in consecutive drafts, effectively resetting its competitive foundation and guaranteeing a seismic shift in the league landscape? This is the central compelling question now surrounding the Indiana Fever, a franchise that has recently emerged from a sustained period of painful struggle, leveraging nearly a decade of league mediocrity into unparalleled draft success. The current revitalization of the Fever stands as a stark testament to the unforgiving, yet occasionally rewarding mechanisms of professional sports league governance, where prolonged failure provides the ultimate compensatory advantage in acquiring elite young talent. And if you like to stay up to date with the latest news about your favorite team, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any daily updates. The journey of the Indiana Fever, an organization with deep roots in the women's game, has been anything but linear. When examining the nearly 30-year history of the WNBA, the Fever have certainly cemented their place among the league's more successful franchises, especially when viewed through the prism of championship contention. The pinnacle of their achievements arrived in the year 2012, when the team clinched the highly coveted WNBA championship title. Beyond that definitive triumph, the Fever have also made deep runs into the postseason, reaching the WNBA Finals on 4 separate occasions, with the most recent appearance occurring in the year 2015. This historical context underscores that the franchise is not unfamiliar with elite competition and the demanding pressure that comes with playing at the highest levels of the sport. However, the period immediately following their last finals appearance ushered in a pronounced and alarming descent into sustained underperformance. The decline was swift and dramatic, initiating a 7-year span marked by deep organizational deficiencies and a frustrating inability to compete consistently within the highly competitive structure of the WNBA. The final time the Fever even remotely participated in the postseason was the year 2016, and even that instance was marked by disappointment, as they were eliminated from the WNBA playoffs without securing a single victory. This brief, winless playoff stint served as the prelude to the extended drought that defined the franchise for the remainder of the decade and beyond. The subsequent seasonal records paint a vivid and painful picture of the franchise's struggles. The season of 2017 delivered a deeply disappointing 9-win and 25-loss record. The year 2018 proved even more challenging, yielding a historically low 6-win and 28-loss record, a performance so poor that it resulted in the Fever finishing squarely in last place across the entire league standings. A minor improvement followed in 2019, with a record of 13 wins and 21 losses, providing a brief flicker of hope that quickly faded. The challenges were compounded by the unique circumstances of the 2020 season, which was shortened due to the global health crisis. Despite the reduced schedule, the Fever still registered a poor 6-win and 16-loss campaign. The nadir of this extended period of struggle arrived over the next 2 seasons. In 2021, the team managed only 6 wins against 26 losses, once again condemning them to the ignominy of the last-place position in the league rankings. This was followed by the disastrous 2022 season, which saw the Fever record a mere 5 wins against an astounding 31 losses, marking the 3rd time in 5 years that the franchise finished dead last in the league standings. Even the most recent season, 2023, concluded with a 13-win and 27-loss tally. Critically, during this entire extended span, from 2016 through 2023, the Indiana Fever failed to qualify for the WNBA playoffs in any of those seasons, cementing one of the most difficult and frustrating eras in team history. The singular good news, the undeniable silver lining carved out of this relentless string of poor campaigns, is the intrinsic relationship between sustained losing and the subsequent opportunities it grants through the WNBA draft structure. The years of organizational deficiency inadvertently gifted the Indiana Fever amplified opportunities to acquire elite-level athletes through high draft selections. This foundational mechanism of professional sports is designed to offer struggling franchises a mechanism for competitive rebalance, and the Fever were perfectly positioned to capitalize on this mandate. The high-value acquisitions began to accumulate, showcasing the payoff for the preceding seasons of struggle. In the 2018 WNBA draft, the Fever secured guard Kelsey Mitchell with the 2nd overall selection, instantly injecting desperately needed talent into the backcourt. Years later, in the 2022 draft, the organization added to its young core by selecting Lexi Hull with the 6th overall pick. However, the true game-changing rewards of the sustained period of failure materialized in consecutive years, fundamentally altering the team's trajectory and immediate outlook. The Fever leveraged their organizational history to secure the 1st overall selection in the 2023 WNBA draft, a pick they used to select the incredibly talented Aaliyah Boston. Following that monumental addition, the Fever once again possessed the number 1 overall selection in the 2024 WNBA draft, where they chose the transcendent talent of Caitlin Clark. Securing 2 first overall selections in back-to-back drafts represents a rare, almost unprecedented event in professional basketball, signaling an immediate and dramatic transformation for the franchise. The recognition of the strategic outcome and the inherent cost required to achieve it has been acknowledged by the highest levels of the franchise administration. Kelly Krauskopf, the president of basketball operations for the Indiana Fever, provided an extremely candid assessment of the situation in an interview featured by Fox 59 News on December 23. Krauskopf did not shy away from the underlying truth of the situation, confirming how the franchise is now squarely reaping the extensive rewards of the organizational shortcomings experienced over the preceding decade. In her remarks, Krauskopf underscored the magnitude of these recent draft successes, stating emphatically that whenever a team manages to secure 2 first selections consecutively, those picks are widely considered generational selections. She elaborated that these are the types of players that, provided the selections are executed correctly, are fully expected to form the bedrock and structure of the franchise for an extended period of time. Krauskopf further stressed the immense business impact of these decisions, noting that such generational talents possess the capacity to completely alter the trajectory of both the team's on-court performance and its commercial business operations. She affirmed that this has undoubtedly been the transformative case for the Indiana Fever organization. Acknowledging the difficult path required to achieve such draft positioning, Krauskopf injected a note of levity tempered with profound honesty. She humorously admitted that the prerequisite for obtaining 2 consecutive first overall selections necessarily means that the organization endured very bad years prior to securing them. However, she quickly pivoted back to the positive outcome, asserting that the difficult past was undoubtedly worth the opportunity to both have and recruit players of the caliber of Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. Krauskopf emphasized the significance of these milestones, noting that these are the crucial moments upon which a franchise, and any successful sports team, is inherently built. She concluded by reflecting on the inherent difficulty of the journey, acknowledging that one must endure the struggle to reach this specific point, but once achieved, the immediate and future trajectory of the team is fundamentally and permanently changed. The undeniable hope now pulsating through the Indiana Fever organization is that these highly successful draft selections can be seamlessly integrated and developed, propelling the franchise forward to transition from a consistent bottom dweller into a perennial contender for the WNBA championship, validating the painful, strategic trade-off of a difficult decade for the promise of sustained future greatness. For fans who have endured the arduous, nearly decade-long struggle of the Indiana Fever franchise, the question now looms: how swiftly and completely can years of organizational failure be transformed into sustainable, championship-level success, and is the price of that painful transformation finally redeemed? The trajectory of the Indiana Fever has undergone a seismic shift, but to truly appreciate the current ascent, it is essential to contextualize the severe organizational deficiencies that preceded it. This franchise, one of the more historically successful in the Women's National Basketball Association, boasts a WNBA championship captured in 2012, alongside a remarkable run of reaching 4 WNBA finals, the last of which occurred in 2015. Yet, that established tradition of excellence was followed by a collapse into sustained mediocrity, which ultimately provided the painful but necessary foundation for the current revitalization. The tipping point into the abyss began immediately after that 2015 finals appearance. By the 2016 season, Indiana was eliminated from the WNBA playoffs without securing a single victory. This set the stage for one of the league's most protracted periods of underperformance, a drought from the playoffs that stretched across 7 consecutive seasons. The statistics from this era speak volumes about the depth of the struggle, confirming that the high draft capital the Fever now possesses was earned through consistent bottom-of-the-table finishes. In 2017, the team concluded the year with a dismal 9 wins against 25 losses. The subsequent season, 2018, saw the record drop even further, finishing with just 6 victories compared to 28 defeats, a performance that slotted them firmly in last place in the league standings. While 2019 offered a slight improvement, finishing 13-21, the momentum was short-lived. The pandemic-shortened 2020 season yielded only 6 wins against 16 losses. The most challenging years, the very ones that maximized their lottery odds, soon followed. The 2021 campaign saw the Fever again plummet to the bottom of the rankings, concluding with 6 wins and 26 losses. This downward trend peaked in 2022 with an organizational nadir of only 5 wins juxtaposed against 31 losses, once again placing them squarely in last place league-wide. Even the 2023 season, the most recent prior to this current phase of resurgence, ended with a disappointing 13-27 record, leaving them outside of the playoff picture. This prolonged period of underachievement, marked by 3 distinct finishes in the league cellar, in 2018, 2021, and 2022, served a crucial, albeit painful, purpose. It positioned the Indiana Fever organization to reap the immense benefits of the WNBA draft lottery, providing them with ample opportunity to acquire elite talent essential for a fundamental roster overhaul. And that critical opportunity has been executed perfectly by the franchise's decision-makers. The draft successes began even before the most recent apex. The Fever utilized the necessity of high draft picks to secure high-caliber players, beginning with the acquisition of Kelsey Mitchell, who was selected second overall in the 2018 WNBA draft. This was followed by the addition of Lexi Hull, taken sixth overall in the 2022 WNBA draft. However, the foundational change that truly altered the franchise's destiny arrived with the back-to-back number 1 overall selections. In the 2023 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever held the coveted first overall pick and used it to select Aaliyah Boston, an athlete who immediately demonstrated her potential to transform the team's interior play and culture. Then, in an almost unbelievable organizational stroke of fortune, a direct result of their continued struggles in the preceding years, the Fever secured the first overall pick again in the 2024 WNBA draft, which they utilized to acquire Caitlin Clark, a player widely considered a generational talent capable of driving massive commercial and on-court success. The strategic leadership within the Fever organization is acutely aware of the transactional cost of securing such transformative talent. Kelly Krauskopf, the president of basketball operations for the Indiana Fever, provided candid insight into this organizational dynamic during a featured interview on Fox 59 News on December 23. Krauskopf was remarkably straightforward about how the franchise is now beginning to harvest the rewards sown during the decade of organizational shortcomings. Krauskopf emphasized the significance of these high-stakes draft selections, stating unequivocally that acquiring 2 first overall picks in consecutive years represents the attainment of generational talent. These are selections, she noted, that the franchise expects, if handled correctly, to form the permanent structure of the team for an extended period. This level of talent acquisition, Krauskopf asserted, possesses the power to fundamentally alter the entire trajectory of the team, not just on the court, but also in terms of business operations and fan engagement. Acknowledging the inherent irony of their success, Krauskopf joked that securing 2 first overall picks necessarily implies that the organization endured several extremely poor years immediately preceding those selections. This humor, however, underlined a serious organizational recognition. The suffering was prerequisite to the reward. Krauskopf immediately pivoted to the serious upside, confirming that those difficult years were unquestionably worth the opportunity to both possess and recruit athletes of the caliber of Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. She described these moments as pivotal, defining junctures upon which a franchise, and indeed any professional sports team, is built. Krauskopf made it clear that while it is difficult to navigate the necessary struggle and organizational failure required to land these top picks, the reward drastically changes the future. Once achieved, she reiterated, acquiring this caliber of talent fundamentally shifts the direction of the entire team. The strategic benefit derived from nearly a decade of losing seasons has now positioned the Fever organization with a foundational core of elite talent, capped by 2 consecutive number 1 overall draft selections. Aaliyah Boston provides the interior dominance, and Caitlin Clark offers the perimeter scoring, playmaking, and magnetic commercial draw. Kelsey Mitchell remains an established scorer, providing necessary veteran experience and consistent production. The resulting organizational aspiration is now clear and definitive. The Indiana Fever must leverage these highly successful draft selections to transition from a perennial lottery participant and bottom-tier performer into a consistent WNBA championship contender. The years of organizational hardship, the sustained losses, and the bottom-of-the-barrel finishes are viewed internally not as failures, but as the painful, yet necessary, capital accumulation required to secure the generational talent that now defines the franchise's immediate future and dictates its championship ambition. The stage is set for the culmination of this painstaking rebuild, with the expectation that the rewards of enduring mediocrity will finally be realized in the form of sustained, elite competitive success. The era of the Fever benefiting from being bad is decisively over. The mandate is now to win.